Hi, this is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. Welcome to my living room. I am here. I haven't made any videos in a while, so I'm trying to get some of your questions answered. By the way, don't forget to go to my website, juliamspencer.com. It's at the bottom of this video. Subscribe to my newsletter there. You can also send me questions at realestate@juliamspencer.com. You can also leave comments on this video and feel free to ask me anything you like about real estate investing. I have actually published 7, actually close to 8 now, audiobooks on real estate investing. I'm really big in tax sale foreclosures, but I've also been a landlord for a really long time, and I have authored lots of responses to a lot of your questions also. I also have a live Facebook show that I host once a week now to answer any of your questions that you may have. You can go to my Facebook site, just type in Julia M. Spencer, and you can see some previous shows there and some of the questions that I've answered. So this particular video is about what is wholesaling all about. I got a question from one of my subscribers specifically about the wholesaling process. So I'm going to try to answer that question again. So in the basic sense of the word, wholesaling just basically means that you're getting a seller of a property together with another investor, and you're kind of like the middle person, and you're collecting funds from that transaction in the middle. Now, when I explained this before, I explained just the wholesaling part of it, which means you're just selling it to another investor who's going to flip it, fix it, and do whatever they're going to do with it, and you're just going to collect a fee. But the way I was always doing it is that I actually purchase my own properties and I sell my own properties. And I'm going to tell you in a second why that's important in some states and why you need to be careful with wholesaling techniques. So first off, let's talk about that whole process. So basically, when you ask me about how wholesaling works, because a lot of people want to get into wholesaling, they want to understand how that works. But you're basically, as a wholesale broker, I guess, you're kind of like the middle person between a distressed home seller who has a home they want to just get out of before they lose it in foreclosure, and they're just going to assign it to you to buy or for somebody else like yourself to buy. And then you go out and buy and find through your networks or through your established networks or your advertising another buyer that's going to purchase that property, that's going to flip it or do whatever it is that they're going to do with it. So you're basically getting the seller together with the buyer, and you're the middle person who's going to collect the fee in the middle. And that's kind of like how everybody wants to get into wholesaling, because they want to get their hands on that middle part, that money in the middle that is then going to generate for them the income that they're seeking through wholesale investing. When I explained this before, I didn't explain this correctly, because the way I've always done it, I buy these deals and I find these deals myself, and I buy them through tax sale foreclosure or a deed sale or an auction for a special assessment or any kind of condo fees that are outstanding, and I purchase these properties very cheap from the original owners. I actually own them as the investor, and then I go and wholesale them to another investor instead of the end user. So that's how I was explaining it before. However, obviously most people are interested in finding the deals and selling them to a third person, not getting any of their own money involved, but instead collecting the fee that's part of this middle part. Now here's the problem. This is why I haven't done it. This is where a lot of people do it, but you have to be careful. Because in some states, there's basically regulation that you can't act as a broker for a seller and buyer and collect fees unless you have a license, which means you have to be a realtor, real estate agent, and you have to go through the process to get a license to be the third person involved in a sales transaction, a real estate sales transaction. Now, there's a number of ways to get around that, because you obviously don't have a contract signed between you and the seller and you and the buyer. Instead, you have the seller and the buyer do the contract between them, and you just collect this finder's fee. However, you're kind of like in a shaky ground there, and honestly, as for me, I've never been there. I've never done that because of that shaky ground. I kind of try to stay away from anything that could even marginally be considered illegal, and then I have to go around and try to justify my actions. And also, I believe that the transaction between a buyer and a seller should really be done with a realtor and with an agent. If that's really what you want to get into as a wholesaler, instead of making the actual profit on the property versus just the finder's fee, then you should just go ahead and get a real estate license. It's only $500. It takes a couple of months startup time to get into the real estate agent selling and buying business. You're going to learn a whole lot of stuff that you're going to need as a real estate investor anyways. So why not just get a license and do it the legal way? I've personally never been interested in getting a license. I have some very, very awesome real estate agents that I work with. I bring my information to them. I let them help me with the paperwork, with the legal stuff, the stuff that they're experts in. They get paid to do this for a full-time job. It's my job to find the actual deals and buy them and then bring them to buyers, whether they're wholesale buyers or if they're end user buyers who are actually going to live in the property. So this is my explanation on wholesaling. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not useful for you to go out and actually find some sort of niche for yourself where you can actually make money with wholesale investing. If you can do that, that's awesome, and you should do that. I just wanted to caution you that you need to be careful with the regulations in the state where you're living and whether or not you're going to be considered a broker. And let me just tell you what I know. In most states, or I don't even know which states, it depends on which state you're in, so let me know which state so I can check it up on you. But in the states where I've lived, and in Georgia obviously, if you are brokering a real estate transaction between a buyer or a seller and a buyer, and you're collecting a fee for that transaction, then you're considered a broker and you have to have a license. And if you do this without having a license, then you're going to get into hot water. So just be careful with that and check up on your laws on that. I don't want you to get into any legal troubles or anything like that. And you could actually get sued by the seller and by the buyer if you don't have a license to do this properly. So if you're really into making that money, then just get a license. So this is my advice on wholesaling. You can probably go online and just type in wholesaling techniques and wholesale investing, and you can pull up all kinds of information on that. And I'm sure there's people that sell programs and have seminars on all of this. But the point is, you need to follow the laws, and also on a transaction like that, you're probably not going to make as much money. You probably are better off to just get a license, because your commission on a sale like that, you're probably just going to make more money than just doing a wholesale deal, quite honestly. So that's my opinion, of course. Take it or leave it. Go ahead, though, to my website right now, juliamspencer.com. Subscribe to my newsletter there. I am also working, as we speak, on a brand new book on tax sale foreclosure investing. This is where you can get properties for pennies on the dollar. It's going to have some really cool information about other things that you can do. For example, special assessment investing, and also investing and getting properties for outstanding condo and homeowner association dues that haven't been paid through foreclosing on those. This is all cool, all new stuff that I've learned recently. I'm going to bring that to you, so please don't forget to go to my website, juliamspencer.com, and I hope to see you investing very successfully soon.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.